So what's going on, everybody? Got me a new toy. So I'm gonna bust this thing out of the pack. I know unboxings aren't like the most interesting thing in the world, so I'm probably gonna cut most of that out. So anyway, I'm gonna bust this thing open. So sit tight. I'll be right back. Let's just get this whole thing out of here. Oh, loose me. So shiny. I'm gonna read this and then I'll get back to you guys. Here's my little dolly with acetylene and oxygen, and that is insanely small oxygen bottle compared to the acetylene. But this is a loaner for me to have a chance to do some of this stuff that I've been wanting to do for a really long time. And you know, only an idiot complains about a favor that's being done for him. But anyway, got my pressures all set. I will not offer advice to anyone for pressures. Very readily available on the internet, and I will not be responsible for someone else screwing up. So, and chances are I'm doing it wrong anyway. Get this turned around and do a little bit of cutting and talk about the oxy-acetylene welding, not brazing, that I showed in the title. I'm not actually set up for any of this stuff, so I'm just out in the driveway. So what I'm going to do, I've got some 3/16 spar right here, just mild steel from the big box store. I'm going to cut a couple of links of it off with the torch and then weld them together. And every time I talk to an actual welder about oxy-acetylene welding, they say, "Don't you mean brazing?" Most of them have never even heard of doing this. So I'm going to use this as an example, so when the next time I say oxy-acetylene welding and they kind of screw their face up at me, I can just show them this video. So yeah, anyway, let me get the welding torch out of there and the cutting torch back on it, and we will get started. Okay, so as you can see, obviously I need practice. It was, you know, melting back together and stuff like that. So, anyway, like I said, rookie, I don't suspect that the welding portion of this is going to go much better. But I'm going to pick those up with some pliers, go get them cooled off and get the edges cleaned up. And then I will come back. Alright guys, so I have not done a practice run, so this is footage of me screwing up if I screw up. So these are the two pieces I cut off. I've got the edges cleaned up. I'm using magnets to hold them at this angle. So that becomes my little gullet there that I just screwed up. Come on. There we go. Alright, so now the goal is to melt both of these at the same time to cause them to melt together. So alright, so lack of practice. I've got a couple of blow-throughs right here and here. But other than that, I'm starting to get the stacked dimes thing. I'm going to get this in a pair of pliers cooled off run a brush across it and we'll take a better look at it. But for first time in 20 years, so far I'm living with it. There and just a tiny bit there is blow through, where I got too deep down in there and blew the bottom out where it wouldn't hold the puddle. And you can see that on the back side. The weld does pretty much go all the way through, and it's a really nice looking weld when you get it right. That whole first part of it right there, you can see the stacked dime thing. And then it got away from me a little bit back in here. But again, I've not done this in 20 years. So yeah, so first attempt at it, I'm real pleased with it. I just got to get this whole thing under control. And I was bent over, bad body position, that kind of stuff too. So acetylene is a shield gas, so this weld is the same strength as the base steel. So now I know properly done arc weld is actually stronger than the base steel, and the steel itself should fail before the weld does. But anyway, this is just like a really low-key way to do it. Plus it's, you know, cutting tool, and there's a lot of things you can do with an oxy-acetylene rig. You can actually, on most of these, swap over to propane for cutting. Welding with propane is kind of a bit of a pain. I hear it's really tricky because propane's not a shield gas. I've never actually tried it, but I hear that the cutting with the propane is a whole lot better. You just got to get a propane tip for the torch. But yeah, so when you hear somebody saying oxy-acetylene welding rather than brazing, this is what they're talking about. When I bought the wire feed welder from Harbor Freight, it was because I couldn't afford the setup for oxy-acetylene, which is what I really wanted to do, just because I enjoy it. It's fun. It's a really relaxing. It's like knitting for men, so to speak. It's a little cathartic. You force yourself to slow down, take your time. You know, and in the rat race of the world, that can come in really handy. All right, guys. So I watched the playback on that, and it got bright enough where you couldn't really see what was happening. So I'm going to take another shot at this, just this little back piece back here, and put a welding lens over the camera and see if we can't actually show you what's happening in there. Alright guys, so that actually did look quite a bit better. You can see this welding rig, the welding tip's actually made for like 1/16 inch metal. This is 3/16. This is 3 times the thickness that's actually designed for. So anyway, as you can see, it still can work, it still can be done. Someone more skilled than myself could have made that look awesome. This is gas welding, not gas brazing. This is gas welding without a filler rod. I was supposed to use a filler rod here. I've never actually gas welded with a filler rod, so never tried it, but I will. So anyway guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one. See ya.